Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama Rama Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama Rama Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama Rama Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama Rama Ram. Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumararpanamastu. Let us offer our endless grateful pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan for this great treasure of his name, for making it possible for us to be able to sing in his powerful shrine, and that for 1 hour. It is no small grace, and let's celebrate this gift of grace and again offer our grateful namaskars to him. We have been seeing some of those teachings of Shri Sitaram Das Swami on Nama Sankirtan particularly. Sitaram Das Swami says that Nama is Jagat Guru. He is the world teacher. Nama is the world teacher. It is the Parabrahman, the supreme force, the supreme God, the pure awareness, manifests as the Guru, a Jagat Guru, the world teacher, and comes down to the deserving disciples where there is a need. So it's our Bhagwan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jagat Guru. His name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, is Parabrahman. I have been telling you the past 2 days that Bhagwan, to attain Bhagwan Yogi Ramsuratkumar is the goal of our life, and for which sake we have to keep chanting his name ceaselessly, endlessly. Today I came across a bit of conversation between Bhagwan, Sri Ramana Maharishi, and one of the disciples, where he emphatically says, you consider your Guru as the real self, and you, since you have the idea that you are the body, you look upon the Guru as the body also. So you, the individual self, has to attain the Guru, his state of being, which is your real self. I felt overwhelmed that I should come across this idea the very next day. The same thing that we were going through. So here, the aim of our life is to keep chanting the name Yogi Ramsuratkumar and attaining his state of being, which is the original state of being, the only state of being, the pure awareness, which has manifested as Shabda Brahman, the Pranava, as we have been seeing. And now, Sitaram Das Swami says, you chant my name, you will be drowned in me. What an assurance. This is what our Bhagwan also said. Many teachings are the same. It's got to be the same because it is the experience of the reality. And it should be the same. As Bhagwan used to say, let us keep chanting the name and get drowned in the state of being of our Bhagwan. Our Bhagwan has often said, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Is it from this to this, pointing to his head and feet? Yogi Ramsuratkumar is no person. It's an experience. It is the highest experience. So name it what you like. But this is the goal of our life. No matter how busy we are with life, busy earning money, busy interacting with people, for some reason or the other, let's not forget the goal of our life. Let's keep it in view, even if we don't practice. It should be there in the corner of our mind so that often it would surface and warn you. As I said before, when the last moment comes, the God of death, the Lord of death, would not wait for your excuses. You cannot tell him, look, I've been so busy with my life, I had no time to worship God. You think he would take it? So, let us be vigilant and keep chanting without any stop, non-stop. Now, Sitaram Das Swami says, do not worry. You just keep chanting my name. I have already done whatever you have to do in this life. This reminds me of Lord Krishna's statement in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, this war has been willed by me. And those who you see as your relatives, friends, and acharyas, I have already killed them. You just have to throw your arrow and take the name for it. Nimitta matram bhava. This is what Krishna declares. So you see, our lives have already been arranged, designed specifically and specially to suit everyone's spiritual progress. So whatever life brings to you, be it a joy or sorrow, remember it has been designed specifically for your spiritual growth. So even the most negative happenings of life have been designed to give you a push towards God. If there is some stagnation somewhere, then God creates a situation, makes you alert. And the situation gives you a push, sometimes even violent push towards God. But then, nevertheless, it is a definite blessing. So here also we see the same thing which Bhagwan declared, that the life has already been designed and it is only unfoldment of the blueprint of your life which you were born with. And then Sitaram Das Swami says, Nam Kirtan, singing the name, is my greatest seva. And he says, even if you don't sing the name, don't bother. Even when you utter the name, the very name itself is Kirtan. So, now think what our Bhagwan has said. I remember in Sannadhi Street House, somebody came and said, we are very eager to do some service to you, Swami. Please order, command. Then Swami said, Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan said, oh, this beggar can only beg people, not command. And this beggar begs you with folded hands. You please chant the name of this beggar. That would be the greatest service to this beggar. And how? Bhagwan continued to say, it would help not only you, the chanter, but the people around and people you care for. And it helps the whole world. And above all, it helps my Father's work. So it is the greatest seva to this beggar, singing the name. People often come and ask, please give us some seva. They come for a little time and then they demand, they say, please give us some seva. Then I tell them often, the greatest service, according to Bhagwan, is to sit somewhere here and join us in chanting. Now Swami says, continues to say this, there are bhajans, nama bhajan, and also singing the virtues of the Lord, singing the praises of the Lord. Now the bhajans where you sing the praises of the Lord, where you sing the great virtues of the Lord, it has varieties. You see, the mind has to keep wandering. The mind wants to find some food to wander upon. So a bhajan which consists of the virtues of the Lord is best suited for such a mind, because the mind is provided with variety. We call it Kalyan Gun. So the auspicious qualities of the Lord. Now, when you sing the name, you repeat the same name again and again and again. And this may be very boring to some of those people who have just begun this sadhana. So for them, it is best suited to sing the other bhajans, the bhajans of praises of God. Otherwise, keep to the singing of the name alone, because it has much more power than those bhajans. They are only secondary. The primary bhajan is nama bhajan, the repetition of the name, the divine name. And just as we saw 2 days, 3 days before, the nama singing, it cleanses the physical body, then the subtle body, and then the causal body. When the causal body is cleansed completely, you enter into samadhi. And there is no more reason for you to be born again. You are completely free. You are liberated from the cycle of births and deaths. Now, every human body, every human being has 5 sheaths. The first one is Annamaya, the body, the physical body, which depends upon the food. And then the Pranamaya, the prana that is inside, the vital force inside the body. It keeps moving all the time, and it is responsible for all the activities of the body, inside and outside. So it's called the Pranamaya Kosha. That is a sheath of the vital force. And then Manomaya Kosha, the mental sheath. It's full of thoughts. The mind is nothing but a bundle of thoughts. And the subtle body of the mind, the sheath, is called Manomaya Kosha. Kosha means sheath. And then Vijnanamaya Kosha, that concerns the intellect, the discrimination and decision out of discrimination to choose the best, the highest. It's Vijnanamaya Kosha, and that gets cleaned. And finally, it is Anandamaya Kosha. Now, even now, in ordinary life, we go after pleasures, and then they become pressures. And then you have to take medicine. But these pleasures lead to pressures, but there is behind these pleasures, there is that ultimate bliss, the bliss of the state of fullness, the pure awareness, which has nothing else to be aware of. It's not even aware of itself, because once it becomes aware of itself, there are two. So it is pure awareness as it exists. And it's a stir in the pure awareness, leads to creativity, and then the whole cosmos comes out. Just like a mother gives birth to a baby, one single thought in the pure awareness that we create, and galaxies roll out, planets roll out, world after world after world rolls out. Immediate, powerful materialization of the thought. Such is the power and glory of the pure awareness, what you call Parabrahman, the Supreme Being. So you see, Nama Sankirtan cleanses the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. This Ananda becomes Brahmananda once it is cleansed. Now, he comes to a certain point which appeals to all of us. He says, when you have to do puja, go to a temple or go to some places or pilgrimage, there are rules and regulations meant for only a certain class. For example, puja can be done only by trained people. There are conditions, just as only a surgeon can go inside an operation theatre and do surgery. You cannot talk about equality there. And you cannot allow anybody to enter the theatre, operation theatre, and you know what will happen. So there are regions where you cannot talk equality because we just don't understand what equality is. So we blindly apply it to every field. Now here, there is one field where you can apply freely, happily, enthusiastically. And what is it? The Nama. He says, there is no Bhedabhav. There is no difference at all. Anybody is welcome. You be a papi or tapi, meaning you be a sinner or the one who longs for the pleasures of the world. You belong to any class. You be a Adhaman, meaning that you be a Chandala. There are classes, classifications, and accordingly, some of those people, they belong to a class where they are not allowed to do certain things. And again, it is our ancient rishis who had classified for the welfare of the society, for the sake of the welfare of the society. They kept one class for chanting the Vedas, they kept another class for reigning the country. And they kept another class for the economy, which is the backbone of a society. And then they kept another class to do the work. Because without the work, there is no use for economy, there is no use for finances, there is no use for controlling a country, there is no use for Veda Parayana. So each class is very, very important to the society. They contribute in their own way to the welfare of the society. And so, there are classifications according to the work. But Sitaram Das Ji says, where Nama is concerned, it's available to all, be a Chandala or a Vedic Pandit, be it a temple or even a toilet, anywhere, by anybody. It can be sung, the Nama can be uttered, and everyone is an adhikari for it. There is no adhikari bedabhav, meaning there is no difference at all that only these particular people can do this particular work. Nama is free, accessible to all. So when this has been given to you generously as a gift of God, why should we talk about this and that unnecessarily and waste our time? You have to hurry up, knowing that every moment is ticking by and we are being pushed to our end. Every day is a day that has been lived. If you have lived it well, it means you have chanted well. You have remembered God. You have truly lived that day. Even if there is a lapse for one day, you have lost one day. You have not lived that day. So let's remember that Nama, the greatest gift of God, especially for this dark age, the age of war and violence and promiscuity and adharmic indulgences. It is Nama, our saving grace. Nama, the great savior of this age, Kali Yuga. So remembering all this, let us keep chanting the name of the Guru, or name of the Ishta Devata, your favorite God. Let us fill up the whole day as much as possible with this auspicious, powerful Nama of God. We shall now offer our today's prayer at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Bhagwan, we have been praying to you again and again, day after day after day now, for quite a long time now. And we repeat it once more. We beg you 1,000,000 times for your immediate divine intervention to free the world from the dreadful grip of this virulent viruses and bring back normalcy based upon dharma in all aspects of life. And we beg you again and again for the uprooting of all the negativities of the mind, of all the killer fear, the killer anger, the killer jealousy, the killer competitions, the killer grief, because they cause more panic, they cause more havoc than the pandemic. We beg you again to stop the rapid spread of the diseases, enter those medicines to kill the entire crowd of viruses. And we beg you again for all those people who have been struggling day after day after day at the very risk of their lives, fighting the disease for the other's sake, protection and all-round welfare. We beg you again for a lift to our economy and for your divine support for all the steps towards its development. And Bhagwan, above all, we beg you again and again for constant remembrance of the divine name. I remember Bhagwan saying once, it is very good, there are gifting, dana, dharma, all that. If you feed 1,000 Vedic Pandits, it's a very great deed, a great punya to feed them sumptuously, to see their satisfaction. It brings you a lot of merit according to Dharma Shastra. Bhagwan said, yes, good, very good. But then it stops with that. But when you chant the name of God even once, say Rama, Shiva, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, the vibrations it creates, the divine vibrations it creates, will embrace the whole world, will be beneficial to the whole world. How can this beggar prove this to you physically? It's not possible. You need to have subtle eyes, special eyes to see the effect of the chanting of the divine name. So we beg you, Bhagwan, for constant remembrance of your powerful name. And we beg you for the right attitude to life, the attitude of gratitude to you, and the attitude of being your instrument to run our everyday life as an offering to you. And finally, we seek that ultimate blessing, the blessing of liberation, liberation from the cycle of births and deaths, for which we need complete purification of the mind, so that we could see only your grace, your presence, only your presence everywhere, and only your leelas in all happenings of life, and even the most cruel sufferings of life, only your blessings, because they give us a push towards you. So we seek that eternal loving, eternal living and loving soulfully and intensely. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.